Have you ever had the strange sense that something is off, not just in your life, but in reality as a whole? A subtle pressure you can't name, a quiet anxiety that appears even when everything seems fine, a feeling that time is slipping through your fingers, that you're late for something you don't remember agreeing to, that no matter how fast you move, you're never quite where you're supposed to be. Most people dismiss this as stress, overthinking, or a personal flaw. But what if it isn't psychological at all? What if it's a signal, a feedback loop from a deeper layer of existence, telling you that the way you were taught to understand reality is fundamentally incomplete? Across cultures, generations, and belief systems, more and more people are reporting the same inner experience: heightened anxiety without a clear cause, powerful moments of déjà vu, time feeling compressed or distorted, and an unshakable intuition that the world is not operating the way it was promised. This isn't coincidence, and it isn't weakness. From the perspective of quantum consciousness, these sensations may be early signs of a spiritual awakening, moments when the subconscious mind begins to sense inconsistencies in the structure of reality itself, moments when the hidden reality starts to leak through the cracks of what you've been told is normal. You are raised to believe that time is solid, linear, and unstoppable, that it moves forward like a machine, indifferent to your inner state, that the past is gone forever, the future doesn't exist yet, and the present is something you're always failing to keep up with. This belief didn't just organize calendars and schedules. It shaped your nervous system, your sense of worth, and your relationship with existence. It taught you to live in urgency, comparison, and quiet fear. But in the quantum field, time behaves nothing like that. At the deepest levels of physics and consciousness, time begins to look less like a fundamental force and more like a perceptual construct, something emergent, something dependent on observation, something deeply entangled with awareness itself. That's why so many people today feel like reality is accelerating, destabilizing, or subtly collapsing. Your vibration is changing, your frequency is shifting, and as your awareness expands, the old mental framework struggles to hold everything together. The subconscious mind notices before the conscious mind can explain. It shows up as restlessness, confusion, or the persistent feeling that something is wrong with reality. But this discomfort isn't a malfunction. It's friction between outdated programming and a deeper truth trying to surface. Here's the part almost no one tells you. If this resonates, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're perceptive, sensitive, tuned in. The same quantum field that governs particles, energy, and information also responds to consciousness. When your inner state changes, the way reality organizes around you begins to shift as well. This is why moments of awakening often feel destabilizing before they feel empowering. You're sensing beyond the surface layer, beyond clocks, routines, and inherited beliefs, into something far more fundamental. And if you're here right now, hearing these words, it's not random. People who never question reality don't feel this pull. They don't notice the cracks. They don't wonder why time feels artificial, why life feels scripted, or why certain moments feel charged with meaning. This channel exists for those who do. For those who sense that consciousness is not a byproduct of reality, but its source. For those who feel the quiet call to look beneath appearances and explore how the quantum field, vibration, and awareness shape experience from the inside out. So stay with me. Not because you need answers handed to you, but because what you're about to explore may finally give language to sensations you've carried for years. We're not going to rush. We're not going to simplify. And we're not going to stop at surface explanations. Because once you begin to see how time, consciousness, and reality truly interact, it becomes impossible to look at your life the same way again. That change in perspective is unsettling at first, because from the moment you were born, time was presented as something solid, unquestionable, almost sacred. You learned that time moves in one direction, that it is scarce, that it's constantly running out. And without realizing it, your subconscious mind absorbed this idea as a law of survival. You began to measure your value by how much you accomplished within invisible deadlines, to compare your life to others as if everyone were racing on the same track, and to feel a quiet guilt whenever you slowed down. This is how the illusion of time became internalized as pressure. Not because time itself is cruel, but because the way it was taught created a perception of constant lack. In the hidden reality beneath appearances, time is not experienced as a straight line. It is filtered through perception, memory, and attention. The quantum field does not register urgency, schedules, or countdowns. It responds to vibration, frequency, and awareness. Yet modern society trained you to experience existence as if you were always behind, always catching up, always missing something essential. That sensation of being late is not personal failure. It is the result of subconscious programming reinforced over years, even generations. A system built on linear time thrives when people are anxious, distracted, and disconnected from their own inner rhythm. Once you start to notice this, small cracks appear in the old model. You realize that moments of deep presence seem timeless, while moments of fear stretch endlessly. You notice how your perception of time shifts with emotion, intention, and energy. These are not anomalies. They are signals that time is not as rigid as you were led to believe. Science has already begun to observe these inconsistencies, quietly questioning whether time is truly fundamental or simply an emergent property shaped by observation. And this is where relief begins to replace self-blame. If time is not absolute, then neither is the narrative that says you are behind in life. If this resonates, it means your awareness is expanding beyond inherited beliefs. This channel exists to explore that expansion together, to create a space where quantum consciousness, perception, and lived experience can be examined without fear. If you feel aligned with this perspective, consider staying connected here, sharing your thoughts, and adding your voice. When people engage consciously, the energy of the community strengthens, and the field itself responds. And as we move deeper into how the illusion of time was constructed, the next layer of this story begins to reveal something even more unexpected. That curiosity naturally leads to an uncomfortable realization. Even science, the very institution we were taught to trust for certainty, has begun to question the nature of time itself. Modern physics no longer treats time as a simple, fixed backdrop where events unfold. At the frontier of quantum physics and cosmology, time starts to behave less like a solid structure and more like a byproduct of deeper processes. In some models, time does not exist as a fundamental ingredient of reality at all, but emerges from relationships, from information exchanges, from observation within the quantum field. This alone quietly destabilizes everything we've learned about past, present, and future. When scientists study quantum systems, they repeatedly encounter a strange truth. Events do not always follow a clean, linear order. Cause and effect blur. Observation alters outcomes. The observer effect suggests that perception itself participates in shaping what becomes real. From this perspective, time appears less like an external force and more like a measurement created by consciousness interacting with energy and frequency. The hidden reality hinted at here is not mystical fantasy. It is a serious question being explored in modern physics, even if it rarely reaches public conversation in its deeper form. This is why phrases like time as an emergent property exist at all. They imply that what you experience as time may arise from how your subconscious mind organizes information. Memory and perception. Past and future may not be distant locations, but patterns encoded in the present moment, accessed through vibration and awareness. This does not mean everything we know is wrong, but it suggests it is incomplete. And incompleteness is where expansion begins. If you're feeling your curiosity intensify right now, that's intentional. This channel was created to explore these questions without oversimplification, to bridge science and consciousness in a grounded way. Staying present here, engaging with the ideas, sharing reflections, and connecting with others strengthens the collective frequency of inquiry. If this perspective resonates, remain with this conversation, because in the next part, this abstract science becomes personal in a way most people never expect. And this is where it stops being abstract and starts touching your life directly. The illusion of time doesn't just shape theories. It shapes how your nervous system reacts to existence. You feel anxiety because your subconscious mind believes it's always running out of something. You feel guilt because a linear story says you should already be further along. Trauma feels frozen because memory is not stored in the past, but encoded as information within your field of perception. In the quantum field, nothing is truly gone. Experiences remain as patterns of energy and frequency, accessible whenever attention collapses onto them. This is why déjà vu can feel so intense, almost disorienting. It's not just a glitch in the brain. It's a moment where perception slips outside the usual timeline and recognizes a familiar configuration of reality. The same applies to synchronicities, those precise moments where meaning appears exactly when you need it. From the lens of quantum consciousness, these are not random. They are signals that your vibration is interacting coherently with the hidden reality beneath appearances. Consciousness creates reality, not by force, but by resonance. If you've ever felt moments stretch or disappear, if time seemed to slow during pain or vanish during love, you've already experienced this. Those sensations are not errors. They are signs of expansion of consciousness. Something in you has begun to notice that reality is responsive, fluid, alive. This awareness often comes with confusion before clarity, because the old framework can no longer fully explain what you're sensing. And that can feel lonely, unless you realize others are feeling it too. This is why spaces like this channel matter. They're not about convincing, but about recognition. When you listen, reflect, and share your experience, the exchange itself becomes part of the energetic field we're exploring. If these words feel like they're describing something you've carried quietly for years, consider staying connected here, adding your presence, your voice, your insight. Subscribing, engaging, and supporting this space isn't about the platform. It's about strengthening a community aligned with awareness, curiosity, and conscious perception. Because what we're moving toward next isn't just understanding time differently, but seeing how this shift changes who you believe yourself to be. And when you reach this point, something subtle but powerful begins to shift inside you. The idea that time is a prison starts to loosen its grip, and in its place, a deeper understanding emerges. Time was never meant to confine you, only to help the mind navigate experience. In the deeper layers of the quantum field, consciousness appears more fundamental than any clock, calendar, or timeline. Awareness does not move through time. Time unfolds within awareness. And when perception changes, reality reorganizes itself around that new level of understanding. This is where fear quietly transforms into agency. If reality responds not to the ticking of seconds, but to observation, vibration, and frequency, then your inner state matters far more than you were taught. The subconscious mind is not passively waiting for the future. It is constantly interacting with the field of possibilities, shaping how energy crystallizes into experience. Every shift in attention, every expansion of consciousness, subtly alters the way the hidden reality presents itself to you. This is not about control, but coherence. Not forcing outcomes, but aligning perception with a deeper order. And that deeper order is impossible to ignore once you sense it. Many describe it as intelligence, others as source, others as an underlying harmony woven into existence itself. Quantum spirituality doesn't ask you to abandon reason. It invites you to look beyond the surface mechanics and feel the structure beneath. If time is not fundamental, then something else must be. Something that gives rise to patterns, meaning, and continuity across all levels of reality. The moment you begin to ask that question sincerely, you step into a different relationship with life, one guided less by urgency and more by resonance. This realization carries a quiet responsibility. As your awareness expands, you begin to notice how your energy influences not only your inner world, but the space around you. Conversations feel charged, moments feel intentional, and even uncertainty takes on a strange sense of purpose. This is not escapism. It is a return to participation. Reality is no longer something happening to you, but something unfolding with you. And once that door opens, it cannot be closed again. The next step naturally follows from here. If time is a model and consciousness is more fundamental, then the question that arises is unavoidable. What is the true source organizing the quantum field itself? Is it randomness? Or is there a deeper intelligence at work, something humanity has tried to name for centuries. That question leads directly into the next exploration, where quantum physics and the idea of God intersect in ways that challenge both science and belief. Before we move there, let this moment settle. If something in this video resonated deeply, take a breath and acknowledge it. And if you feel called, leave a comment with words that reflect your state right now. Something simple like, I am awakening, I see beyond, or I am expanding. These shared signals strengthen the collective field we're building here. When you engage consciously, through reflection, presence, or even a simple like, you help this message reach others who are quietly searching too. And if one person comes to mind while listening, consider sharing this with them. What we're about to explore next goes even deeper, and this is only the threshold.